Hi everyone, we have another exciting update, and for this update we're going to split this video up into two parts. The first part we're going to go over the smaller yet valuable things and stick on and watch the second video for the big stuff. So let's start with some of the smaller, more valuable things. So one thing that a lot of creators needed to do is that if you wanted to place an object outside the level, the way to do it was you would need to first kind of like create a platform, then go place the object outside it, and then go back and delete the platform, right? Well, now you no longer need to do that because you can simply take an object and tap anywhere, even if it's outside the level, to place it. Even if it's on the level, you can just simply long press on it and then drag it out. So that should make placing objects beyond the level much easier from now onwards. The other thing also that a lot of you requested and have been asking for is that sometimes you're not happy with the values that are given within these pre-made rules, right? So say this coin has a range, it can give you anywhere from 0 to 100 points. What if you want this coin to give you 1,000 points? Well, now you can do that. So just simply tap on the number and you can enter any number that you want over there. Now when I go hit play, you see it now gives me 1,000 points. You're not just restricted to that. I could also make it give me a negative 1,000 points if I wanted to for some reason. Now it'll do that as well. And so this ability to enter any value beyond the recommended ranges that we have now applies to anywhere you see a number, right? So anywhere you see a number, if you're not happy with it, say I want this coin to spawn something, and I want it to spawn, well, slower than 10 seconds, I can simply just tap on it and enter a new number. So anywhere you see this number above a slider, you can tap on it and enter any value if you want, if you're not happy with the ranges that we have provided. We've also added a new ability to the camera. So on the camera inside the follow, you'll see you now have this offset. So this allows you to essentially kind of like offset the camera from your entity that it is currently focused on. So like right now, if I hit play, like the player is in the middle of the screen. Sometimes I might want the player maybe off to the side or to the lower part of the screen so I can see more of the level ahead of me. Now you can do that. So I'm just going to say an offset. Maybe I'm going to give this an offset of, well, that's too much, maybe 4 on the Y and 3 on the Z. And now you'll see the player is at the bottom of the screen and the camera is kind of like offset. So you can get much more. And you can apply this on any of the axes. Maybe I also want it to be slightly to one side, right? And this allows you to now have more control over what should be in the center of your screen. Another thing that we have added, which will help when creating your custom rules, is like, let's say I'm adding a custom rule onto this player, right? So I'm going to say, you see now that this line gets highlighted. So the line in the when that will get evaluated, it now always gets highlighted, right? So say I want this to happen that when I press, well, now this is the line that'll get evaluated. But say I add multiple lines. So now you can see it's saying that this is not going to get evaluated, but this line will get evaluated instead. So this is just to clarify that always only the last line in your when is going to get evaluated. So say I say that, oh, when I press, when the game score is greater than 10, now, in this case, what it's saying is that it's actually going to neglect this completely and only evaluate this. So if I want both of these to be evaluated, then what I need to do is I need to do this result of 1 and result of 2. So now this visual indicator is there to remind you that only the last line of the when gets evaluated, and to keep that in mind when creating your custom rules. So those are some of the smaller cool things that we've added. Now stick on and watch part 2 for the big, huge addition. All right, so now let's look at the big, huge addition in this new update. We're going to show you how things were done previously and how things are going to be done now in a much more improved and better manner to make building games even simpler for you. So let's see what the problem used to be. So let's say, for example, I wanted to add a bunch of text into my world, guiding the player or giving them instructions. So the way I used to do that is I would place a piece of text. And then if I place another piece of text, if I edited any of these text, so if I said, hello, go this way, all the text or all the instances of the text that I had placed would update, right? So effectively, if I needed to give 10 different instructions to the player, I would need to add this text object 10 times from the library, right? So I would add it again, I would place it, I would make this one say something else. Hello again, right? And then if I needed to add another text object, then I would have to basically repeat the process for another instruction. Go back in, add a new text object, place it, make this one say something else. So very quickly, what would happen is that your palette would get filled with a bunch of objects that were essentially doing the same thing with just slight variations. And the same thing applied to every single other object. Say I wanted a coin, I put this coin gave me 10 points. Now I wanted another coin that gave me 100 points. I would need to go back in, add another coin that essentially did the exact same thing, except now go and edit this and make this one give me 100 points itself instead. So now you would see your palette very quickly would bloat and expand out. Well, that was the old way of doing things. Now we have a new and improved way of doing things, which I'm going to show you how. So let's go back to our drafts, and here is the new way. All right, so now let's simulate the exact same problems that we had just a moment ago. Say I want to give 3 different instructions. Instead of adding 3 different unique text objects, I'm just going to place 3 things right here. I'm going to go into text, and now over here, right now the same thing's going to happen, right? If I edit it, all of them will get edited. But instead of doing that, if I just tap on the name text, the parameter, you'll see it gets a little strike through across it. And now it is essentially telling you that this parameter is overridden. So now when I go in and I update it, only one of them will get updated, right? So I can do that for any single thing. Not only that, if I want its color to be different, right now all of them are getting adjusted, but what if I just want this one to change? Just simply tap on the parameter right up there, override it, and now you can change this specific color. And this is really, really powerful, right? Because now with just a single text object, I can place as many text elements that I want in the scene, and my palette does not get bloated. And at the same time, I still have the power of editing multiple of them at once. Say I want 5 of these text objects to say the same thing, but just one of them to say something different. Well, the ones that are not overridden will still behave the way they did previously. We are the same, right? And this is super, super powerful, and this applies to every single object in the scene. Let's take that other example. Say I have a coin, right? And I want this coin. Let me place another one of it. See, I just all these coins give me 10 points, but just one of them, this one right in the middle, I want that one to give me 100 points. I just override the score parameter, give it 100. Maybe I also want it to make a different sound. Maybe this one makes an explode sound. And now this one gives me 10, this one gives me 10, but this one gives me 100 with the explode sound. So this is super, super powerful. Now you'll also see that my palette is still very contained. I still just have very few elements in it. And you can apply this to literally everything. The only thing that it currently does not apply to is the skin. So you can see that you cannot override or detach the skin, but that will come in a future update. So let's see a few more examples. Let's say I want a bunch of these crates right here. I'm just going to heighten them, move them up. And right now, if I hit play, they all fall. Maybe I just want one of them to fall. Well, first thing that I'll do is I go to the pushables. I'll say let's turn off gravity on all of them, and then on only this one, or maybe this one right here, let me go and override that. So I'll say this one actually should have gravity on. And so you can see it's nicely demarcated. The one that has the strike through it is the one that is overridden. Now when I go hit play, only one of them falls. This, we can take this even a step further. This applies to, as I said, everything. So let's say you can also apply it to your own custom rules. So let's say I have these 3 NPCs right here. right? Now on these NPCs, I have a very simple rule, a custom rule that I have created, that when you touch them, they show a piece of text. They say a certain a dialogue, right? And so when I go and I hit play, they all say, we say the same thing. Now, previously, what you would need to do if you wanted each of these to say something different is you would have to duplicate the entity and also then duplicate and remake your custom rule so that you could enter a different value for each of them here. Well, now you don't need to. All you need to do is override or detach the parameter and then just say change it as you require. So now just the center one is going to say something else. We say the same thing except me. And you can obviously detach as many of them that you want. Like, so I can go to this one and make this one say, well, just remember to detach it first, otherwise it will adjust it for all the ones that are not overridden, and say something else. Right, so these are actually very powerful. This way, with just very few objects in your palette, you can actually create a lot more variety. And this is great for when you want objects that essentially do the same thing with just slight variations for them, right? All these coins give you points, they just give you a different number of points. All these NPCs say the same thing, they just say something else. All these crates fall, except all these crates have the pushable on them, except one of them falls. All these text just say a different text. And this is really powerful because, as I said, you can choose to you still have the benefit, right? So if you want to place multiple of an object and all of them to behave exactly the same, well, simply don't detach the skin. So all of these can be made into healers and they all will behave the same thing. But if you want one of them or a few of them to behave differently, just simply override or detach the parameter on that specific instance, and then it will behave the same but slightly different. So I'm super excited to see how you all use these new features and what you build with it.